I just made cinema-grade AI ad in 5 hours from the moment I got the idea to the moment I hit render. I was alone, I didn't leave my home, and I still managed to take at least 3 coffee breaks and a lunch within that time. In this video, I will show you how I did it. But before we get into it, couple things. First, I could only move this fast because I already had a pretty exact idea. Without that, sometimes not even 50 hours is enough. Second, I was using Higgsfield for that AI part, and most importantly, their new Cinema Studio 2, which is quite cool. You have quite a lot of control there, bunch of features, and it is quite powerful when you know what you actually want in the end. So I have built it completely there. And third, you might be thinking, 5 hours? People make ads in 5 minutes with AI. Well, yes, but not this kind of ad, trust me. Because AI is only one layer here. You still need taste, structure, sound design, timing, editing, and a bunch of other things. But that's whole another story. Today I am focusing only on AI generation part. But if you are curious about those other layers, check the link below. Alright, before the breakdown, here is the full ad.
Welcome back. Today we will become still. Imagine a quiet lake. Return to your breath. Now exhale, releasing all the tension from your body. When you're ready, open your eyes.
What was I thinking? Another app that doesn't work.
Sedativer. At least you sat down. Download now.
So let's take a look at how I did it. As I told you before, I was using Higgsfield for that, and especially Cinema Studio. And with new version, it looks a little bit different from the first version. What I especially like is that you have those projects here, and the one we will take a look at is this one. You can see it took quite a lot of generations, especially in the beginning, because I just needed to get the scene and environment right. Otherwise, I know I would struggle. So even though it's quite a simple scene where there's only a bench in the park, I was playing with a lot of options and lightings, angles, stuff like that. And you can see that I was using this new grid feature here, where you can get 9 generations all at once, so you can maybe pick the one that you like the most and get it upscaled. But it took a little bit of time until I was quite close to what I wanted, which is from this row upwards. Below that you can see some weird generations with those circles, or how do I call those? But this is not a problem, it's rather a feature, because with Cinema Studio you have options to select cameras, exact lens, focal length, and the better you understand this on the basic level of how cameras work, you can actually streamline your generation and get the look that you really want. However, if you forget to switch for the correct lens, I think that in those weird cases it was some other lens that wasn't anamorphic. However, once I was happy with the result here, which was probably this one, I knew that I could start to build my ad around this one image and this one scene. And I needed one more thing, which is actually our guy. So I created my guy in standard image tab, where I used Nano Banana. I gave it like a basic description of the typology of a guy that I want to be main character here. And I was basically lucky with the second image here, I thought that this character should work just fine. I gave it a couple of other runs, but I then quickly confirmed, okay, this is the guy. So then I create Nano Banana to give me close-up, so we have way more details on his face, because in my generation process I'm not using this image as input frame or whatever, it just always used as a reference for different generations. Now let's get back to Cinema Studio and our project, and I will walk you through my process one scene after another. So in this first scene you can see that I have my first frame being empty bench, but in video tab here you can see that I used also end frame where the guy was already sitting on the bench. So I needed to prepare such image, and I did that here in image tab, where I was just feeding it with this scene with empty bench, and I was giving it this reference image with the guy. And pretty simple prompt, the man sits on the bench back facing the camera. It took a couple of tries until I got the one that I actually used, and in video I just used those two first and last frames to create my first shot. Then with this one the process was kind of similar, but I needed kind of rotate the camera 180 degrees so it's facing front of the camera. But in here I was quite often experiencing the fact that it gave me the front facing look on the guy and the bench, but the background was the same, so it's like pretty weird. But I don't see that as a problem, it's just the process. I know that I could make this work in here with AI generation. Sometimes it's so much easier to just quickly fix it in Photoshop, so I did that. You can see here that I uploaded that image which I liked, and I think that the guy had the look that I actually wanted for that scene. So I selected him, did some adjustment generation in here, and I fixed that background so it's not the same as with opposite view angle. This way I just exported it, and I had my first frame for the second shot, and I was simply like describing what should happen there. So camera is zooming in and the guy is putting on his earbuds, and then he's reaching out to pick up the phone. But it took a couple of tries, because with AI, if you are not exact enough, you are losing generation rounds, because I often forgot to write that those earphones are wireless, and a couple of times it gave me those wires there, which I did not want. So be specific all the time. This way I got this shot where you can see that the guy is reaching out to his pocket to pick up the phone, and here I introduced the cut to introduce a screen with the app icon, so there is a bit of a hint what we are presenting here. And even though this scene might look quite easy, it was the hardest one, and you might ask why. Because if I show it to you here in image tab, I just tasked it to create me a top-down view of this guy holding a phone with the screen showing home screen, and it gave me this, which is pretty cool already, but I needed to get there my app icon. I already knew there is no point in prompting it within Nano Banana or whatever tool, it won't do that correctly, so I downloaded it, and in here with Photoshop you can see that I put it there manually. I don't care about those unreadable signs because they will be this big, so not readable at all. However, with this input frame, even though it was quite straightforward, it was causing me a lot of problems because, take a look, the motion was quite fine, I was just never able to prompt it to tap on the exact icon. I was trying the lowest icon on the left side, lowest row, I don't know, the white icon on the left side, not the phone icon which is down here, and it never did it right. But it's not much of a problem, you can still make it work. So what I did here, I screen grabbed one of those generations and I just cut out the hand and positioned it there. This way I had my first frame and last frame. Yes, this is kind of a harsh selection, but this image is like 5000 pixels. It will never be generated at this scale with video, so either way it will be downgraded. So I thought that's fine. And in here you can see that it worked. Once the click happened, it was quite easy here because I knew I wanted him to be interrupted 3 times, but he was still within his meditation practice. So I only created like a first main frame, and this frame was kind of a half body shot, and I think it was this one. It is kind of a funny look, already tired, desperate, exactly what I wanted. So I was using this image almost every single time within the generation up until the end. In here you can see the first generation is that I prompted it. So there is a woman walking behind him with a stroller and the baby is crying. However, you can see that once this video is ending, it's different framing, and I want it to be like without any cuts. So I needed to export end frame of that shot to be as a first frame and upload my basic image, which is the guy I'm using over and over again, as the end frame. So I will have like a video generation that gets the camera back to the original position. And I was doing that trick at least 3 times there. Now, once the woman passed by, then there is a tilt motion with the guy taking out trash and a dog coming there and licking his face, which is like the same story over and over again. You just need to like find that exact generation which you like and fix those different cuts in between. You could of course try within Cinema Studio to do a multi-shot where you would describe what should happen in the scene 1, scene 2, and you can pick up how long it should be. But even though it's cool, I still like to have way more control with doing it one by one, because it's way more easier than to get back to it and tweak those tiny details if necessary, and not to need to re-render whole clip which covers, I don't know, 2 or 3 scenes. But it's there, you can use it, up to you. And with this new Cinema 2 Studio there are a couple of other features which are cool, because movements were there even with the first version, but speed ramps are quite interesting. You can like tell the model how dynamic it should be in case of motion. In this case it was most of the time linear, but you can like create it on your own to like introduce much more dynamic action later in the clip, or you can pick some of those that are pre-made here, like impact. It will be easing into the action, then action, and it will slow down in the end, then like speed up, so you will know that whatever is happening within the clip, it will only get faster. But in here it was a bit simple on my end. Most of the time I kept it on auto because I wanted it to be like a performance based and story based, not much of an action. I just wanted it to be a bit of funny and dumb. That was my aim, and I think that I did it. You can surely tell that if I scroll up, although generations are quite similar, I was just changing phrasing and certain tokens that I needed to put into a video prompt. so I would get the results that I want. But all the time I needed to like get back to my main initial frame, so I don't need more than like 2 cuts within whole ad duration. And you can see that it is the case. If I drag it from the left, it's always fluent without cuts. And in here with this last scene where guy is actually speaking,
What was I thinking? Another app that doesn't work.
there are 2 scenarios. If the guy would be speaking way more than in just like one scene, I would need to like pick a voice for him so I can use it all over again and maybe like think of a lip sync, voice changing or whatever. But with just one scene, it's completely useless because you simply need to prompt it there what he should speak. With this condition that it's only one scene, you just tell it what he should speak, and most of the time you will get it right on the very first try, and you don't need to like think about how you will maintain his voice over, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 scenes. He just have one line that he speaks, so it's really easy to do it this way. And this is the way of how I did it. You can see man takes out earbuds from ears and speaks quotation marks, and I just drop the line that he was speaking. I advise you to use quotation marks all the time, so it is quite obvious for the model what should be spoken and what is like part of a prompt, that what should happen. Well, it would probably get it right, but you never know. So quotation marks are quite handy for that. Then leaves the bench while the framing is consistent. You can see a couple of typos there, but those models are already quite good in understanding it in context, so even though you are missing a letter there or 2, they can get it. So this was my process of how I actually created all the assets necessary to create the body of my commercial, and the AI part was mostly done here. From this point on, I needed to do some like color correction, visual tricks here and there, but I don't want to go too much into details here. Those adjustments and tricks are parts of layers above and below of that AI layer which I am showing to you. However, once you learn it, you can make it look so much better than just what you can get with only downloaded version of video generation. So this is it. I hope you liked it, and drop me a comment what you think. See you next time.